Hello again, everybody. Sebastian here. I am joined by Mortar Mike, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen. Today, we're going to be briefly touching on the update because I do want to hear Mike's perspective. Because if you have joined or if you've seen some of the stuff in my channel, I've been covering some of this stuff for like 3 weeks, kind of giving you previews, so I know what's coming, right? But for you folks, one of the things that I did right away last weekend is I teased Mike with an animation, and I planted a seed on him, and then he started to answer back. But I have learned, anytime I'm going to talk Watcher of Realms with Mike, I better press the record button. So Mike, first of all, thank you very much for joining me in. And then let's talk a little bit about the update, but let's also like speculate a little on what we've got.
I will say, bro, they may not know, but literally the first time we talked was for like 2.5 hours.
It was, yes.
And we was like, why didn't we record this? And we was like, I don't know. We were talking.
That would have been a large recording to upload, but it was fun. It was definitely fun. And given the battle scars that you and I share, that definitely brought in some. All right, so
never reopened. Yes.
So let me set the first thing here in terms, because I don't know if this is going to be part of the update, if they're going to introduce it right away into the global server. But I think so. What you're going to see right here, folks, is I'm playing the edited version of one of my summoning videos. And what I was doing is that I was summoning on the divine portal. Here we go. So epic. When I hit the summon button, the first thing that shows up is this animation that you're going to see here in the background. And here we go. And then Aracha pops out. And I was like, wait, did Aracha get her on animation? Or you're right. Or is there something going on that we don't know about? And this was on Friday, and then the Ancient Summoning Portal opened on Saturday. But here's what happened, Mike, and this is where I send you all the clips, was that I contacted Arturos, and I said, Arturos, look at what happened. And I said, go to the data leakers or the data miners, ask them to go through the Forerunner files and see what they can find. And Arturo says, yes, there are 3, or there are animation files there, but it's not just 3. We found 4. And so, of course, the standard blue and the purple are in there. But then here on the left screen, you're going to see the one that only had the yellow, the gold. And then there was another one that they found. And if you compare the two, one of them had a red hue around it, right?
Yeah, that made me panic.
And so I DM'd you, and then I said, mythical, and then you're like, oh, well, I'll just let you go ahead and give your response, and then we'll go from there.
It was trauma. It was trauma, first off. That's what it was, genuinely. Because, and it's funny because I say that because the game that me and him both played before was Raid.
Yes.
And when we saw Mythical Champions enter the game, we both can agree it was executed poorly. Because it was a tiny percentage chance you can get them. They were so broken that you basically didn't need most of the other champions in the game if you got like 1 or 2 of them. They ran so much of the content for you. And like, I mean, I think I said at the beginning, you can get a shard to get them, but there's a 1% chance in that shard that takes like 3 weeks to get a handful for you to try to get one. And it was so unbalanced. And then there's also people that will whale and get so many of them by just, buying them. And, they got a head start on so much of the community that people just start playing. So I was nervous because I was like, if they implement this in this game, I have 2 sides to this. One, I was nervous that it could be implemented how the other game did it, which is not great. Yes. Or 2, I had a little bit of optimism to it because if they did it this early, it would be a little more expected, if that makes sense. It would be it could kind of integrate it a lot earlier than hey, let's just put two champions and call them mythic and mush them together, and they got a button you can press to make them different heroes, and it looks cool, but no.
So essentially, what did come about, folks, and we're not trying to scare you or anything, or flame anything or gaslight anything.
He just scared me.
Yeah, exactly. But essentially, what we found out was, if we go back here, because it is really apparent in this one, and that there is a red hue here, and then a Raja shows up. It's just that I think that they coded it wrong, and it showed up in the Divine Portal. Unless they actually do mean to have it there, which would actually really exciting, right? Because do you see? Because I didn't get the golden cubes, I got this animation, so I don't know if they're trying to replace it.
Crazy. Whoa! Yeah, so you got that from summoning divine shards.
Yes, exactly.
That's crazy. Not even the ancient portal. It just dropped it in like whoops.
So even though it shows up in the ancient portal folder, I was wondering if maybe they decided that for divines, we're just going to put it in here and let people be surprised. But I have a sneaking suspicion that it was coded wrong. That was me. Yeah. But just that initial 12 hours, because the other portal hadn't opened yet. And then once people started summoning in there, they saw the animation. So we knew what was up. But it's just, it was intriguing to postulate for that. Now, from my perspective I still think that the game is a little bit too young to start introducing mythicals or what other games would have as 4S tier champions, right? Somebody that just starts taking over in terms of the game, and because in some aspects what they do with these heroes is that they are meant to be like the step into the end game content that the game has, and right now this game, whatever they will refer to as end game, can be approached with the heroes that we have. So it has to be like a gradual increase, right, before we start expecting a rarity. But I just for this conversation, it's just like for me, it was just a way to tease Mike. Number one, and two is just it's just a new animation, and if you see the red hue, it just means that you struck a lord. But it did bring an interesting discussion whether this game was ready for another rarity, and not at this moment. I don't feel like you need it.
Yeah, it's funny you say that too, because a part of me agrees on that. Now, what would I say the game could use? And it may be early, but I proposed this in one of the videos I did. I think it was like content wish list. I mean, like 3 videos. I think I did the first one. I think the first one was Susie. And it's either one with Susie or with Destin. And I said, what would it be really cool for them to add in the game are what are called mount heroes, which are heroes that you can put on a tile, and you can put the hero on top of that tile, and they gain some special benefit, like 20% stun on their attack, or they get some rage regen that's boosted or something like that. And that would be cool because it's a platform game, so you can technically use the platforms and upgrade that, and you can only have one on the team, just like the what's the faction? The dragons, all the dragons, the unknown, unnamed.
Yeah, the unnamed.
Yeah. So I would think that would be cool because you get one of them. The game isn't broken. It just still leaves you up to testing and figuring stuff out. And I'll say this too, because I'm making this point very long, as you can tell. One thing I will say I do enjoy about the lifespan of the game, at least for me since global launch, is that they've done a pretty decent job of not leaving a lot of heroes in the dust. Some of the heroes get reworked, some of them get upgrades, like Kai's coming right back around, and people forgot about him. Now he's coming right back. Same thing with Valkyrie, she's getting a nice upgrade. And then the exclusive gear is making some of the old heroes like, oh crap, I hope I get that. Like, that's great. So it's like they're doing really good, and it's not just stat bloating, which is something we remember. And it's just like, oh, they all just get faster, they all just get stronger, and there's no creativity put into the kit like this game has, like Awakenings and such.
Now, I think that I brought this idea once before when you and I did a discussion on this, on what we'd like to see the game bring. But the only way that I would accept a mythical champion into the game is if it's a hero that you can, let's say, transform or it's a hero that you can bring into the battle, but you have to dictate whether you're going to use it as a ground unit or as a platform unit.
Yeah.
Right. And then however then you decide to do it, that's how the kit applies. But it can be something that you can, in the middle of the battle, you can dictate which form is going to take to just completely take over, because that'll ruin the game. It has to be that the only thing that I would think that you could benefit from something like that in this game, it would be something like that you're shifting it.
I love that idea.
Right, you're shifting it to either you're going to use it as a platform unit with a kit, or you're going to use it as a ground unit with a kit. But it can be, you can use it both ways. You have to dictate.
I gotta say, I never even thought of that idea. That's freaking genius. Like, depending on where you put them is what hero you. Oh, I love that.
That would be that would be the only way. That would be the only way that I would apply that type of hero into the game. Nothing like the Rated Shadow Legend. Yeah, exactly. So.
You don't want to fight a team of them?
No, it's not fun. I don't see how people that say, "Oh, this is fun," fighting 8 different champions at the time. It's just not.
And if you lose most of them, there's always that one that brings them all back, and it's like, yeah.
Well, and now I don't know how soon you left, but I left pretty much as they were releasing the Mythical Heroes. I didn't
on the same time frame. I didn't get Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, I didn't exactly. I did not. I knew my time with the game was done at that point, because I had decided to stop spending for 6 months. So I was essentially playing the game free to play. And then when they introduced this mechanic into the game, I kind of started foreseeing what was going to happen, especially with the competitive guild that I was in. And I just decided at that time, this is a perfect time to quit. And I'm going to leave it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it was peaceful. It feels good not remembering heroes' names and such. I mean, I hope that it's a long time in the future before this game gets anywhere near that type of experience. It was literally, you couldn't play the game until it was time for CVC. Yeah. And that's it.
Yeah. That was the unfortunate part.
And you spent 2 weeks saving up all your nuts for the winter to spend them for 2 days and lose and get none of the rewards.
Yeah, exactly. And it got also to a point where the dungeons, you didn't have to farm those anymore, because everything that you needed was based on the content that everybody had to battle through to get then these heroes to then do as much as you could out of it. But those were the past days. So now that we leave the postulative stuff behind, is what do you think about the update? Because from my view, right, I've been going through this now for 3 months. A lot of this stuff has been
for this for a minute.
Exactly. So
I gotta say this too. I know you about to make your point. If this is your first time seeing this content, please subscribe to this man's content, because I promise you, this is like one of my number one sources of finding out what is going on in the game.
Yeah.
And he's always putting it out like there's so much stuff you learn. He didn't ask me to do it. He didn't say sometime in the middle, interrupt the video and say it. He didn't say that. I was like, look, this dude makes dope content. I will say it is worth it. It is very much worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know that I sometimes, and I do appreciate it, Mike. You didn't have to do it, but in the conversations that I have with anybody regarding the content that is a test server and the Forerunners, sometimes I go in looking for the red flags. So let's in this update here, because there's some things that are not even coming yet. Like about the camp, right, from the test server. Yeah. So that is not even making a sniff into global yet. And I have a feeling that is because they need to update the app. A lot of these updates, I think that they're able to do it like backdoor without having to update the app, right? In the Apple Store.
I do wonder how that's going too, because even though as far as we know it's a backdoor option they're using, they're putting a lot of stuff into a game without having to update the patch. I wonder if it's like the coding of it already being something that's there, they just gotta drop the piece on top of it, and it's been that many months ahead, which is great. Because I always wonder that, because I remember the big issue when the last update came in. People was like, "Oh, but the number in the store didn't change." And I was like, "Look, I'm getting what I want, but I understand the concern for that too, because if they actually know how it does it, yeah."
And they have to do it. in a way where if there is something bugged, that they can fix it without having to then update the app too. So they have to give themselves a backdoor to the backdoor, right? In a sense, and that can be difficult. So yeah, the camp is one, and then I'm glad they're not rolling RTA out yet. There's a lot of fixing and optimizing that needs to be there. But is there anything that you're saying?
I haven't played that one yet. I saw a video of it from you.
Yes.
But I think I kind of got like a little bit into it. I didn't grasp the whole concept fully if it was working seamlessly or not. Like, I guess I should ask, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, RTA, shameless plug. I did do a video where I do cover comprehensively how they introduced this and how redundant it is to the current version. I really felt, so let me tell you this. So in the stream that I did, where I just did, I basically did 10 battles, I think it was on stream. And essentially is you load out your 15 heroes, or 16, or so hold on, it's 6 per team. So you have to load out all 18 heroes. You have to declare which mode you're going to have them in. And you have to make sure that all 18 are geared and have an artifact. Okay. Then you click on the button.
Is going to be a slip up.
Exactly. Exactly. Then you press a button that then tells you you're going to get match number 1, and then 2, it tells you which mode you're going to enter. So the 6 heroes that you declare for the mode are the only ones that you're going to bring in, right? Okay. And then there's only one map. Yeah, it's only one map, and same thing. You have to lay out your team just like you do in Classic Arena. The only difference is that you cannot plug the spawn point, number 1. Number 2, the enemies hit back. And then number 3, you have to also pick a commander skill. So to kind of, yeah, exactly. So one of them is you sap your opponent, they lose 20% HP. It's essentially a chaotic counterattack or countermeasure, right? And then if I remember, the other one is fatigue. Essentially what you do is that you apply fatigue to your opponent. They lose 30% of their damage for the 10 second or 5 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm hearing a number. I'm hearing a metrics.
Yeah. Number 3 is the sleep. So essentially you put them to sleep, and then if they take any damage, they can wake up. But if you time it correctly, you can pretty much interrupt their rage, and they can't do anything. They can't even do their basics. Okay. And then number 4 is the stun, which at that time
I already bet stun is the number 1.
Yeah. At that time that I published my video, the stun was overperforming, and they already nerfed that. If you can imagine, they already nerfed it. So
as soon as you said stun, I was like, stun's the one.
Yeah, exactly. Because here was the thing: is you bring it into single target arena. If there's only one person right in front of the enemy, you stun them. They lose their block. The enemy goes through. Now you have to then plan for the guy that got past you, and not the fact that you have to build your team to make sure nobody gets past. It's essentially what happened. But one of the things that I said is, here are the pitfalls. Here's what you should consider doing. But then what I really left it as is, this is what Classic Arena needed. Not Arena with all these cool gadgets that you can only play for 4 hours a day.
Yeah. I can see that, because I will say, for what you're explaining to me, this sounds like fun. I will say this sounds like fun everywhere out of Apex.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
let me be clear. It sounds like fun everywhere out of this is the meta team, you can't beat it, yada, yada, yada. It's out of that. I'm okay. So how do they do the I have to ask you this then. How do they deal with the slow motion of putting down heroes and stuff? Is that still a thing, or is it just all real time now?
There is no slow motion. It's all real time. You have to react as you go, because both clocks are running on the same time. You're running. So when you grab a hero, nothing's slowing down for you. Everything is going normal pace. Yep.
Yeah.
So you have to react.
Interactive.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
There's no auto settings at all. It's just you have to.
It's all you. You have to plan. You have to plan to be in this battle for 3 minutes of live action. Anything interrupts you, you're done. It's essentially what.
Yeah. Get a phone. They're gonna like, oh, they're losing. They're gonna call you.
Exactly. So yeah. So I better not be on call if I decide to do RTA. That's essentially what happens. But still, the one thing about the way that they are doing the RTA here, if they decide to stick to the mode, one of the fun things about RTA and other games that I think that they missed was the draft and the band phases.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That is that. So I don't really need that. You needed to restrict the hero for one particular mode just so you don't overpower the whole mode, because you could easily just ban it and not have to deal with it. That's essential, but we'll see. So that the Gauntlet, the camp, and then pretty much I think everything else is coming to global.
Yeah, and it's a lot.
Yes, it is.
It is. Hey, it's crazy that you said you've been talking about it for 3 months, and then it's like, you want all of it?
Exactly. No, so that make this video too long. But is there any because for me right now, I'm already seeing the red flags that they didn't address. So I want to see how the global community reacts to it in a sense.
Okay, so, interesting.
But one thing that did not happen in Forerunners that is happening in this one, and I wanna know what you think about it, because I kind of get a red flag from this. The pity counter getting lowered. That is an interesting move by Moonton, isn't it?
Bro, that is an interesting move in the gacha industry, period. For one, it's huge because there's a good side to it and there's a skeptical side to it, because you can say that's amazing and you can say Murphy's Law. But
So is it because there's something coming in the background, like we just postulated with a mythical-type hero, or is it that they're trying to maintain their player base? Is there something going on there? Or is it that this is finally a response to our cries about them giving us the rates for each hero that's in the game?
That's good. That's a good way to put it. So I will say, in the event of Murphy's Law, I'd be extremely skeptical about this. You know me though. I'm extremely optimistic. So a part of me, even though I don't I don't know the staff or the company personally, I can't go to Shanghai. I'm not my bucket. I can't do that. But
there is an OG. Shout out to my bucket.
Exactly. Yes, sir. But I want to say that this is a great, this is a great chance for them to do something amazing with the game, because it's rarely, I can't remember a gacha game I've played where they've done that. I can't remember one. I haven't
played a game that has ever done that, where they reduce the pity. This is unprecedented for a gacha game. I actually went into Google and typed gacha reduce pity, or trying to see if anybody has talked about this previously. I couldn't find anything. It was like, okay, so what is Moonton setting that up? It's essentially, what is Moonton setting this up for? What's coming that we're not seeing?
Yeah, and that's a tough thing to think too, because it's hard to say like this. We know this in the lifespan of the game, there will be stuff that happen in the game we do not like. There will be it.
Yes.
And so we can always hold the hammer up and drop it when the bad moment comes. But I'm hoping that this is something that they're just like, you know what? Let's just do something out of the ordinary, break the mold, and get more people to pay attention to what we're doing. We can also say the catch-22 is that they may be trying to work out something with the update. Of course, that's always in play. I just hope that it's like, you know what? We figured this thing out. We're able to do A, B, C, and D for our player base. Let's keep doing stuff that our player base enjoys and keep that hot streak going. And also, a part of me does believe, this is a little bit of a stretch though. This is tenfold theory right here. This is something that is player base wide because of the birthday thing that happened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now that's a little bit of a tinfoil hat there, so y'all take it with a grain of salt. But it does generalize. Not generalize. It does even the playing field for players that are new to the game and been in the game for years or playing forever. It's great because everybody takes advantage of that, and there are very few times where somebody can add something in the game that's just as good for the new players as it is for in-game or pay-to-win compared to free-to-play. There's very few times you get something that is not just, we spend more, we're going to get a better benefit. They're still going to buy more heroes. Can't help that. But I love that option.
Yeah, the game is always going to be bringing new heroes. We cannot get away from that, right? So
yeah, I do want more new epics, though. Want more new epics.
Yes, and Fasty already leaked it out. There is one coming. Looks to be stupendous, but I do wonder if that is only an ancient specific hero. So we'll find out about that.
Definitely gotta be ancient,
right? Exactly, right. So. I think not only that, but they need to rework a lot of the epics that are in the game. And the only thing that they've really done is heroes that have been in the game for a while that need a rework, like Kai, and then adding a talent to Valkyra. I think that they're trying to catch up to that as they're bringing in more heroes as well. But I just find it interesting that they said, we're going to lower the pity for you to make sure that right at 200 you hit, instead of waiting for that gradual increase. And then the divines, it said 20 was the hit point, and I'm like, okay.
That's lovely.
I know, because...
Are divines no longer a scam?
No, they're still a scam, because I've gone deep sometimes. 28 has been the most that I've gone into. But, but... I'm still. It kind of is like, okay, let's just wait for the other shoe to drop us to why they did this, right? It's just really interesting that a company that relies on us buying packs to summon, they decided to make it easier for us to get heroes. Now, unfortunately, I would say, let's hope that they're not making it easier for us to get multiple copies of a Azor, or or Kriya or anything like that, right? But it's still, it does make you wonder why a company would make that step.
Sebastian Kane's owner of Kane's Country, you know what it is?
Yes.
We both have bad exes, and we always fear the worst.
Yes, I know.
We always fear the worst is the thing that's gonna happen in this game.
Yeah.
It's like if you were like in Iraq or whatever, and the sergeant major came out with pepperoni pizza, and there's that one guy like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
We gotta make a push to the other town.
Yeah, man. So, all right.
What's the catch?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm waiting. But the only other thing that I'm waiting on is the Gauntlet, the Gladiator Gauntlet, running concurrently with the beginning of season 6. I have said previously, probably for those of you that don't really care about GBG, you're not going to care whether the top 64 or top 32 teams have to deal with 2 modes of GBG concurrently in the same week. But that is my only big red flag if they don't make that adjustment and add a week to the preparation phase. But it's essentially it's fun content because you are going in a tournament style. Fortunately, Forerunners got the seed somewhat correctly. So if you were 32, you did face number 1 in the first round. So Gil number 256 in global. My prayers to you already. But at least
it's going to be an internet outage in another country for this to work out.
So at least they got that little part right. But it's just, I want to see how the top players do perceive this of having to play 2 GBG modes at the same time with 2 different maps. It's not the same maps, 2 different maps.
You know, you bring a very good point. I think that this is going to be great for them. Now, I'll say it's going to be great for them. There's still going to be somebody who's going to complain about it because anybody can find something to be upset about. But something that's more exclusive, that's ultra in-game for more ultra in-game and competitive players, I like the idea of that. It's the same thing as like there's people that will never see this and they should be happy they don't see this because it's a different game. It's a different stratosphere. Like there's people that complain that they won't get Lady Alexandra for months. Be glad you won't play against Lady Alexandra team for years because you won't be at that level where you see them.
Yeah, that you could say that. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's harder to get, but that's intentional. There's some players that play on that level, and that's what they're introducing to that. And later we can get that kind of stuff, sure. But for the most part, they don't want to ruin the game by putting out stuff that breaks the game quickly. I guess that's a good way to put it.
That's right.
They make it where it's still. I like the idea of them making something that's in this echelon. And if you don't push for it, you just don't go for it. It's not like they're like, there's no chance. Like you can join the guild and try it, but you're gonna be traumatized because you're like, oh crap, they play like this.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very different. You're gonna be in that mandatory Discord chat getting that message at 1 a.m. saying set your defenses up. That's on you.
Yeah, exactly. And
but players that enjoy that.
So people are gonna have to keep in mind, especially if they're competing on the Gauntlet, is you're only gonna have 20 hours to do your attack, and if you advance, right? If you advance, then that's the next day. You're only going to have that 20 hours to go, and you do your 4 attacks the next day. So in that span, if you also have the matches going on in seasonal GVG, you're going to probably have to plan for 16 matches or 16 attacks in a span of 2 days. So yeah. So the way that they set it up, I think it would behoove them if they just let people practice on the season 5 map, or not the season, the Gauntlet map, and then give them an extra week to then have the season 6 map
ready.
Yeah,
yeah,
that would be my only advice.
Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I may not ever see it, but I'm interested to see what this rolls out to be. Maybe there's somebody that's going to make a video of them, like, here are my past matches or something. I look forward to it.
Yeah, well, so for me here in the Gauntlet, unfortunately, I did not record my attacks, but the maps are pretty much just a modified version of the season 5 map. All you're going to see is the different positionings of the fighters and some of the platform units. That's it. But the same mentality still applies. And but for us, at least for Forerunner people, it was like we were concentrating so much on the season 5 map, on the Gauntlet map, that here's the first week of season 6, and we really didn't practice the season 6 stuff. So we just kind of like, let's just use this week as a throwaway and see what happens. Essentially, what it came out to be.
Yeah, I like that. I gotta say that, yeah, maybe I am overly optimistic. Maybe I am. Yeah. But I like there being this kind of a conversation amongst people that play the game. Yeah. I like that people that want to go to this level, they have the option to do this. And like, even what you just said was a big deal. I'll just make it a bye week. We could take a break. That's great for a guild to make that decision.
And that's what I want to see, especially if those that are watching this and they want to comment below, is would you really want that week off? Because it's not really an off week between the eight weeks of GBG season. It is not really a week, because what you have to do is, if they're going to throw the Gauntlet at you, and now what you thought was going to be like a chill period between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, going into the next week, you're going to be practicing and setting up defenses for that particular Gauntlet. So you lose your time off. You don't have that time to unwind from GBG, if that's what you need. Exactly.
Yeah. And there's a player base that is all for that, which I think is good for that player base to have that. And this is good too. So I want people to also keep in mind, the people that are watching this usually is talking about maybe 5% top of the player base.
Yeah, exactly.
But you will hear people having responses, having feedback, having approvals, having gripes, as if 80% of the player base is involved. It will exist. So just remember, like, if it's out of sight, out of mind, man, enjoy the rest of the game. If you want to get into that, you can jump into a different guild and test it out, try it for yourself. But don't let the loud voices be the overall voice that you receive for it. Because it's literally like, hey, if you're never in that circle, you'll never see it.
Exactly.
Like you won't see an A5 Praetus in Gold 3. You're just not gonna see him there.
No, probably not. Yeah, exactly. No, you're probably not. But yeah, I just that's the only minor concern that I have out of this whole update that they're rolling out here. I don't know if there was something else, anything else that you found interesting in terms of what's coming into the game.
I just think across the board, it's been a lot of rollout, and of course there may be some suspicions that come from that, but it's been a lot of rollout of stuff we want. Like you covered when the gear and the Dwarf Association is going to be mythical gear every time. If everybody beats 1, 2, and 3 of Gear Raid level 18, all the gear is going to be mythical. That's incredible. It's a simple thing we asked for, and they brought it. Increasing the meteorites for Titan. Wisdom and is it Titan and Wisdom or Wisdom and something? Platform and ground.
Yeah. No, you got it. It's Titan and Wisdom.
Yeah, like increasing that rate. They didn't have to do that. They just ended up doing it. And I like these small adjustments. I'm a fan of that kind of stuff because it's a lot of checks in the right boxes. Right. Now, like we said, it could be that Pizza Hut in Iraq. It could be. Like that Domino's pizza box. It could be. But I like I will say, even with whatever the issues that are happening right now, I still, being honest, I still enjoy the pace of the game. Like,
I do.
How fast we're getting stuff and like how fast we're getting content. Like, this patch is huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be huge.
This is like 6 to 9 months of content in the game we played before. This is huge to put a dropout like this.
Now, I don't know if people are going to feel overwhelmed by it, but I actually welcome it. Just it's like throw all of that at it. Let people adjust. Now, for me, it's going to be easy because I know, okay, yes, we go exclusive gear. We know what we're looking for. We got to form cladic list with sets, all this stuff. So I know what to look for there. And, you know, the GVG change, I can expect that now. So all these little things is like in my head I've already been ready for, but talking to somebody like you that is only in global, sometimes you jump on the test server because we know that you lose
sometimes.
Yeah, you lose your guild.
Sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that happen. Then people are taking stuff over.
Right now, as far as I know.
No, man, it's like it's busy work to try to keep a test server going and then your account going, all this stuff coming in. But I understand.
I'm not fighting a dragon in test server. I'm not fighting Kill Boss 1.
But I'm glad that they're just throwing it out. Let people adjust. Let people get used to all the content that is now. The people in Forerunners have been playing with for 2 to 3 months. It feels like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I will say too, like we said before, about like how they're able to put this much stuff into the game. Even though the issue was going on with the update, to me, hopefully that gets resolved. Over anything, we want that to be fixed, right?
Yes,
of course, it has to. But it's even with that going on, this is a huge testament to how well this game is actually built. Like, there's so much stuff that can happen even with an obstacle like that. We've gotten we got banners repeated. We got new heroes that's been added. We've got new features that's been added. We got gear optimization. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to give gear lock for this now. We're going to update this and tweak that. We're going to add kits stuff to the heroes. We're going to add new exclusives, and now we're going to do exclusive gear. Like, there's so much stuff that is happening, even with this update issue, that is faster than any other gacha games that I've played. And that's why I'm like, this would cripple. If Raid had this issue, it would be lights out. It would be like, it would be a wrap.
It would.
Yeah, like, but this is like, if you didn't know about the update issue, you wouldn't care. Except for that one moment before the last one, you was like, oh wow, there's not a lot going on. It's a little, and then like, then the anniversary event hit, and he's like, "Oh crap!" There's so much to do.
Yeah, I don't know how many people actually do understand, especially the players that don't watch YouTube videos. Is Do you really understand as to why the updates are rolling out as they are? Because go to the Google store, go to the Apple store, and usually when there's an update coming, they update that section and they tell you what's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I go to the Google store and I look, the last update was from July, the one where they actually were able to properly update the Apple app. And then I go and take my kid's phone for a minute. I go look in the Apple store, same thing.
Same time,
Last update, right? So we know that there's still that discussion or that settlement that has to occur on that end before they can properly. But let's hope that whatever updates they do in the back, they don't come back and then say, "Oops, we effed up. Now we need the app updated." Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I hope it's not just like they're just like, yeah, we're gonna go a year without fixing this problem. That's an issue.
I think the only other minor one that I didn't hear you discuss, and I think because you did mention about getting Discord pings at 1 a.m, is the gear lock feature. You guys are gonna get that. It's just a lifesaver, man. I wish that they would just put it in Arena already, but that Guild Wars locking feature is going to be nice because if you like your defenses and you don't want to touch them and just leave them as is, and they're doing a good enough job for you, you don't have to touch it. You don't have to worry about gear. When you click that button that says deploy, that's it. They're fixed.
Yeah, I like that. It's good you mentioned that too, because the people that watch these videos, let's be honest, most are usually late game or end game that are in the comments or in the chat talking about stuff. So they don't really have as much of an issue of like, hey, I don't have this hero gear because they have the option. But if you're early game, mid game, that gear is a life sign for your team. Like you can't take that gear off of like 6 heroes and put it on 6 more. You only have 5 built.
Yeah, exactly.
So, this is huge for them to say, hey, let me build the very best that I can and lock it. The more like late game and end game players, like they have other options. That's a better way to put it. It still irks them too, but they have other options should they want to. Like if I take my gear off Boreas and put it on Hatsit, they're still going to be good enough to play in arena for a few hours while I'm doing the other content I'm playing. But if I'm playing early or mid game, that Hatsit's going to have nothing on.
Yeah, exactly.
In arena while I'm playing, and it's the same issue for GVG. You got to gear your heroes up, and then it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you're asleep, and your arena team's getting massacred.
Yeah, exactly.
Your gear's off that team.
Yeah, I fall victim to that anyway, because I forget to gear my arena heroes. But yeah, let's just say it's a feature that we hope to see soon. Gear lock in arena. Yeah, but the GVG aspect, it'll change it. You'll just be I have a feeling that you'll just, did I gear my, I don't need to think about that. Thank you.
It's like those memes where like, this thing isn't real, it can't hurt you.
Exactly. Yep. So, all right. Well,
I will say if this is in the right lane, if this is working out in people's favor, kudos. I'm gonna give it in advance. Kudos to Moonton. If this stuff is as it seems, we thank you guys because you guys are doing a great job of putting out a lot of content at a quick pace. Even though some people are worried about stuff here and there, we got the right to be putting stuff on our phones or our computers. But we're glad that even while this stuff is working out, we're still getting something that the player base can enjoy. It's keeping the game alive. Tons of hero. I didn't even know where the heck a Tengu came from, but we got a whole Kagiri event. Like all of this stuff is still happening. So I do hope that they keep that coming. And also while we're at it, still, get rid of any concerns that we have as players with the update as soon as you can, because that's one of the big things that people are like, this is good, but this is great. And so we can get that resolved soon. We'd be happy. We are, but we'd be more. You see it in the dev insights.
We'd be more ecstatic about it. It's that, the way to put it, right? But yeah, like you said, I like the pace. It keeps me engaged. I like to see how the content that I've seen previously coming in, and my whole guild or the guilds here in Global are excited about it. Because all this cool stuff is coming. And so I was like, I could easily make a video say, oh, here's the update, everybody. But it's like, for me, it's just go through my catalog. There's in-depth analysis of everything that is coming in. So I don't need to make another one.
I was excited because the stuff was coming to the game finally.
Yeah.
But I've always been excited watching you talk about it. I was like, oh, we're getting all of those things he talked about.
Yep. You're getting the mic. So I just wanted to kind of get a feeling of where you were with it because, you know, I'm still sitting here. So this is the thing is I don't see it again. We've been hurt before, but I see it as like, oh, here are all these red flags and they're rolling it out. Oh my God, how is this gonna go? I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? But here, just hearing you is like, this is cool. This is coming in. Find exclusive gear, baby. Yes, yes. And I'm like, yeah. So I wasn't like, my Discord is like, I'm just staying quiet. Let everybody rejoice. Let everybody have fun. Let's not even mention that there could possibly be 16 battles that we have to do in 2 days. But let's just leave that for when it comes in.
Look, just be glad that they're not making. Just be glad that the only big problems people are having in the game right now are Ingrid and Praetus. Just be glad.
Yeah. Let's be glad. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just nothing else coming.
Exclusive gear is a nod to most of the older heroes in the game. Let that set in. That's great for a game like this.
Yep,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And Dolores RNG is going to be gone, so I'm very happy about that too.
Oh, but hey, wait a minute. Now I went into the test server. 20,000 forged or 20,000 Skelkins forged, not one Dolores exclusive. So I am curious.
Oh, so I wonder if they're going to roll them out in phases.
I am it's in the code. At least we got that right. I was able to find that other 7. I got the other 7. But Dolores did not drop. So A, he was not in the coded in the test server yet, or B, that thing is going to be really hard to get.
And I'm cool with that. You know what? I'm okay with that. Because you know what? If this is all the stuff I get to do and I just get these materials by playing something else, sure. Make it hard to get. I'm cool with that. I got to ask you this question. Since you've seen a lot of the insight on the game, variant gear, I got to ask this question. I played an arena match recently, and in the middle of the arena match, a freaking dragon flew off the enemy's team and burned a bunch of enemies. Is that a variant gear? Does that exist?
There is the variant for that. I can't remember the
marine summoning dragons. There's no way. Like
no. I can't remember exactly the wording with it, but it is summoning some type of creature that does damage, like the tide. Dragon does. Exactly.
That's what I told people. I was like, I was like, I wish I recorded it because it sounds like I'm making it up. No. It was literally a dragon that flew over like a little mini Barrett, just flew over the map.
So and there's the other one that I sent you. I think I sent you a screenshot of it because I wanted to again play on your PTSD, where it was variant gear where our hero can pretty much polymorph the enemy into a critter. Yes.
You know what's funny? I don't understand why, but I so want that gear. But you know why? Because my heroes aren't turning into critters. I'm turning something into a critter, and it's Destin's account, it's Destin's channel. Is that little critter? Like we nickname him Jarian.
Oh, Jarian. Okay.
So Jarian shows up on all his streams now. It's like I want some piece of gear that has that. But yeah, I want to see how that stuff rolls out, man. I'm just happy that. It's not. What was that other? Okay, I remember this. You remember this hero called Tariel in Raid? And he was like, there was a season where it's Tariel. He had a gold face and a shield. It's an epic. It's an epic. And,
the very early epic, the one that everybody wanted for Clan Boss. Yes.
Yeah. He was just amazing then, and then you just realize just how far the game's gone from that.
Oh,
you don't even recognize if you summon him now. Like,
no.
We don't want that to happen. We want to make sure there's not like heroes left in the dust. I love that Phase 1 heroes are getting stuff a year later that makes them still competent and relevant, or new ways to figure out problems. Yes. I love that.
Yeah, I like it too. But the variant gear, there's going to be new stuff coming in. Now in the test servers, I haven't seen too many. I think half the time I do ask the developers to just drop the gear instead of having me forge it. Just like I'm gonna like the Dolores one. I actually sent a message to the CC coordinator. And I said, could you ask him to just drop me the Dolores one, please, so I can test it? So I'm just waiting for them to do it. All the other variant stuff is slowly trickling out because in Forerunners we see the screenshot. So the dragon one is the one you mentioned. My favorite one was the critter. I'm waiting for the critter one. That's the one I'm waiting for. Yeah, so I'm imagining that there's going to be some other school stuff that comes into because like the animation of the portal. They don't put that in the patch notes. It's like surprise. And then, and then you're clicking, you're doing your summons. And when something like that happens, you're like, am I tripping? What did I take today? I don't know, sir.
It's crazy because they can literally like actively change something in the game while you're playing it. So we noticed that with the birthday thing. That was one thing. But I was on the test server when it was the first time they gave us gear. And I was playing, and my gear slot said like 15, 19, 2400. I was like, what the heck? And the gear just showed up on my account.
Yeah.
Well, sitting, I was like, I can't even farm right now. I just got to use all this new gear that I got, which I wasn't mad about. But it's like they can do that so quickly in the game, which I think is really cool.
So you don't have to encounter this, but I do. So anytime I log into the Forerunner account, there's the bar at the bottom. And based on how long it takes to load, I can tell if they did something on the background, right?
Yeah,
and in Forerunners,
I'm a geek. I try to screenshot when it goes to the word downloading.
Because in Forerunners it happens a lot more than it does on global, but in Forerunners it happens a lot more because we see how long it takes that bar. Too. Yeah, and so, but they don't release any patch or any announcements or anything like that. And sometimes we're surprised and we're like, did somebody notice anything weird going on in Gear Dungeons?
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
And then 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, yeah, we meant to do that. We meant to do that.
And it's less of a community on test server than it is on Forerunner. Like Forerunner players have been playing this game before the game came out.
Yes, exactly.
Test server is just like we're using it to experiment stuff. The only thing you see is this person just leveled up 12 heroes in the chat in the corner. That's all you see. Other than that, you have no idea what people are doing on test server. So
yeah, because half the time Sebastian's trying to make things playable. And then you realize, why are they releasing this hero? I don't make sense of it. Are
they just going to delete the blue mage, the one that got forgotten about, and just let Beatrix just take that job?
Oh, poor Carosa. You think you're talking about Carosa? Yes, it's. I know. If you talk to Arturos, he'll try to defend her a little bit, but she needs a little bit of love before she comes into global. So let's hope that that's one of the updates that we see here soon.
Is love the next step above a buff? Like she doesn't need a buff, she needs love.
Love. She needs a lot of love. I'm just trying to be nice about it. I mean, it's like Ma, that hero, that he needed more than love. I don't know what's more than love, but that definitely he needed more than love before he went into global.
I'm glad you said that. Maul is a perfect example of what we talked about before, because when we got Maul, we were supposed to get an extra use of Maul in GVG.
And that hasn't happened yet. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it should be.
I'm wondering, is that tied in, or is that going to be delayed? Or is that because of the patch?
So it wasn't in the patch notes, but I expect it to click because the passive should get integrated. The passive is already in game. So once that clicks in, hopefully it does. So
so it is there already. Good.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. But if it doesn't, then people in global are going to be like, then why do we have this guy? I mean, we're expecting 4 uses out of Ma, not just 3. And I thought
3 in a slot field.
And I felt I have fallen trapped to that because I do my guild boss battles and I was like, I'll use Ma again, and then here comes the 4th try, and whoa, no, wrong server. God dang it.
Can I say that's terrible? Wrong server. Can I say too? I have a constant habit of not using all my mall runs. I have an addictive habit of it, and I don't know why. I'll have like 2 runs left and 3 malls, and I was like, I guess I gotta find a mall team. I guess I gotta find another team. Where's the King Hearts?
Yeah, no. Most of the time that happens to me too. It's just sometimes I'm being the last one in the group to attack. So usually what's left, you can only attack with Ma essentially, especially if it's an Ingrid comp. So sometimes I do bring him out, but I don't like to use him if I can. If I can get away from not using Ma, I prefer it to having to use them.
Yeah, I think so too. It's just I have so many other cards in the deck I can try out other than trying to make a team to make this one demon work. That's a me thing. Yeah. We went off on the rails there. That's a GG thing.
We did.
But yeah.
It should. Let's just say that passive should apply. Hopefully. Should come into the game, even though it's not in the patch notes. But I thought that they had mentioned it in the past. It's just that maybe something that they forgot to include. But if they don't, then there's something that we can definitely make noise on as CCs is, hey, what happened to this passive? I thought we were going to get it. So
it is time to get worried.
Yeah, it's time to get worried. All right, Mike. So this is kind of how conversations going sometimes the last 2.5 hours, but for your sake, I'll cut it down a little bit here. And thank you all very much for joining us. Mike, again, it was fun talking about Watcher of Realms with you, especially with the new update. Yeah. And I just wanted to, again, play with your PTSD in regarding to a possible mythical hero coming in, but that's not the case.
Compensation then.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe in the future. But hey, if Moonton wants to take my idea of making a hero that you can either classify as a platform or a ground unit, I'm gonna go for it, right? So
I love that. Yep. Bro. I hope they give you more than gems for that. Like
we'll see. We shall see. All right, folks.
You might get wide gold. Why'd you thought you was gonna get it?
First, remember, if you have not subscribed to Mortal Mike, I will leave the details in the description of this video and go subscribe. And also make sure you have your alerts on because this fellow likes to stream. And you should go pop into those streams because they do pop. It's essentially what happens. He does have fun. Sometimes he does very failed summons, but he does have fun with them.
Horrendous. But you enjoy my failures. Let's put it that way. You have a great time watching.
And if you want just like a preview of some content that might be coming down the pipeline, then subscribe to this one. But that's about it for this video, folks. Yeah. We will leave you all there. Again, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time.
Peace. Thanks again, bro.
Yeah.